I am working on expanding this area that I covered in the last video about pruning or chopping and dropping. And I just wanted to, before I get too far into it, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. So, super brief, this area was shaped during the house build something like 100 years ago, and then they cut out here for the road, and then more or less been just sort of brush hogged or something like that for a very long time, and pretty unhealthy land, and there was perennial weeds growing on it, goldenrod, mugwort, some grasses, some grapevines, and a little bit to the north there's that huge black locust, beautiful mother tree, and then a bunch of early pioneer succession species. So you've got that juniper there, that's eastern red cedar, but Juniperus virginiana, and a bunch of Prunus serratina, black cherry, Robinia pseudoacacia, black locust. I don't know why I'm saying the scientific names right now, no idea. Anyway, that's what's back in there, and some red maple, and a bunch of oaks. So all those started growing a little bit to the north, and this area had been a little bit maintained. So no tillage, I just started planting in and scything the herbaceous growth into the tree row. So we've got like a tree row right here, a little one right here, another one right here, peaches, apricots, plums, some apples in there, cherry, some walnuts, and one down here, persimmon, peach, black cherry, pawpaw. So all that stuff is in here, starting to grow now. And so I've been pruning, putting the prunings into the row. And now I'm gonna push north and finish this out to the road, the little farm road. So I'll just do a little quick before, and then later in the day I'll catch up here. So I've started by pruning up these oaks. I'm gonna leave the trees, the big trees here. And here's an apple. As I push north into here, I'm gonna extend those same straight beds because it just makes managing so much easier. But I'm going to, a lot of this growth, so this whole section I'm gonna clear up, and this is the little road. There's a pile of old tiles here I'm gonna clean up, and so I'm gonna bring it out to this little farm road here, clear up all this brush, and extend those rows out this way. As you can see down here, the forest floor here doesn't have a lot of herbaceous growth or anything like that because it's been quite strongly shaded. So I'm gonna have to manage that infusion of sunlight by planting the heck out of this spot. When I release the sun down to the ground here, I've got to have annuals put in the beds, biennials, perennials of every kind, because the whole ecosystem is going to grow here, and I want it to be the plants that are useful to us, and not just goldenrod and what we got here. This is chelidonium, and there's a little mugwort shoot, and garlic mustard. Actually not that much stuff down here. Pretty easy. I think it'll be pretty easy to get the jump on this with things that I plant. Anyway, that's the idea, and a lot is going to happen today. I'll do another walkthrough after the big pruning happens here. There's a big man-made windstorm gonna come through here today. So quick check-in just half an hour later. Just wanted to explain my workflow a little bit. And so what I'm doing is I'm just taking one of these trees down at a time. I'm actually, because they're pretty small, I've been trying to actually get them hung up in this black locust. So that way they're hanging like this, and then I can do a lot of the limbing while it's up, and then do a series of undercuts up the slant so that I don't have to bend down as much. Just little tricks. And then I've got this little thing that you can just put a stick in, and it keeps it up so that you can saw them that way also. It's just nice to not always work on the ground. Anyway, so this bigger one I had to drop into the opening here that I've been creating. Here's another black cherry, and I'm just cutting them like this and managing them for cherries, like in this one. So I'm pruning it open vase like a peach. Anyway, so I dropped this one to the south and limb it first, cut off all the forks, and any place where the branch forks, and then cut the main stem up. Ultimately, now I've been taking these piles of the brush and organizing them onto the tree rows. And now I've sort of filled up the tree rows, a little bit scraggly. So I'm gonna go through with the loppers, chop it down, and get all this brush closer to the ground, taking up less space. I'll move these first, then do that. And then I'll move all the larger pieces off. Some of this I could burn, but I'm pretty good for firewood. I don't really need to scrounge. And so instead of burning all this wood, it may sound crazy, but I'm just gonna return this to the soil here. That probably most people are like, you live in the north, why wouldn't you burn that? And you burn wood. As I said, we're really pretty good on firewood. We're still got like cords left over and not much. And of course, could be next year's, could be the year after that. But I have a good source of firewood, and using small diameter stuff for firewood, it's fine, but this soil here has been impoverished, and the more carbon that I can get into the soil here, the better for growing the crops that I want to grow. So instead of heating the house, I'm feeding the future crops. And so I'll use most of this. Maybe some of the largest stuff I'll burn, but most of it I'm going to just fold back. So that's gonna go underneath some of that's gonna go as the base layer. As I extend some of these rows out, that's gonna be down in a stack, and then covered with branches. And then I might even cap it with some leaves or something else that'll keep the humidity in. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep cutting these smaller stems, dropping them into this little clearing, taking the limbs off, putting those in the tree rows, bigger stuff here, which will be the base for later. And I'm sort of working my way out into this clearing until I hit that big black locust over there. I will obviously not touch that one, just get all the small stems on the sides. And then any trees that I want to leave that I'm not gonna completely take out, I'm just limbing them all the way up. So I'm not gonna take out this juniper. I won't take out that one. I'll just limb them all the way up, and it will not impede any of my work below it. If the tree is right in the line, I'm mostly leaving them to be managed with the other trees that I plant. The challenges here are just some bigger trees. So this black locust is a little bit tough to find a lane to fell that in where I won't hit trees that I am growing. Like here's an apple. I don't want to do any damage to that. There's a, hard to see, but there's a little bitty pawpaw stuck in that hay there. I don't want to mess that up. So this is gonna be tough to find a good spot. And then the other hard one will be this big stem here. But I do want to get those out because I would like the light to track something like that through the sky and be relatively clear over here. So anyway, that's the flow. It's really important I find in this kind of context, it's really good to work one tree at a time. If you fell multiple trees into the same space, you're tripping over yourself. You're wasting a lot of time. But anyway, that's where we're at so far. I'll do another update in a little while. So there's this line after chopping it down a little bit. Now I'm ready to take that next load of brush, put it on there, and chop it down more. I got the forked black locust down without hurting any plants, although it was really close. Just tickled one little branch on this pawpaw that I didn't want to hit. That's all right, I'll prune that. I had planted a kiwi here years ago, starting to work its way up this locust, so I think I might just move the kiwi because managing vines is really hard. And rambling up a black locust that's just growing like crazy from sprouts is gonna be chaotic. Had to prune the branches off of that oak to let this locust down. So we're now at a point where the light is gonna make it all the way. I still am gonna have to take down this locust here. I think I might just be able to put that right down towards the covered road there. And these piles have been getting too big too quick, and I don't have a whole lot of time, so I've just been cutting them up a little bit with the chainsaw and then doing the fine touches with the loppers. But that's a lot of slash that's getting worked down, and it's going to be quite a bit more because I've still got some of this clump to come out and all of this stuff, this small diameter stuff here. And then I had kind of forgot about this. There was this nice apple, just a seedling wild apple that was growing, sort of somewhat surviving back in the shade here. And it's sort of a crab apple type thing, or just a tiny apple. So this will get released, and I'll probably just top work this and graft it, because it'd be nice to have a head start on some fruit out of this area. Yeah, so that's where we're at now. I'm gonna keep going for a little bit. Well, it's noon, and I've got to start on some other things, and my chainsaw is not starting. So it's time to take a break on this project. But here's how it has gone so far. What seems to be pretty small piles of brush is actually a ton of material. All woody debris that's gonna break down. And I'm not gonna try to biochar this. I'm not gonna try to hugelkultur it. I don't wanna mix any soil in because I don't wanna dig, because digging is hard. So all I'm gonna do is try to cover it with maybe some leaves. I have to keep working it down more. I'm gonna lop it and really get everything to lay pretty close to the ground. And then once it gets covered with leaves, it'll start to break down this season pretty quickly. And then it's gonna start to release all these nutrients to the trees. and really turn the whole soil biome in a different direction in probably just one season. And combined with the pulse of pruning, the plants are going to be releasing all kinds of growth hormones, fruiting hormones, because they're in flower and they're fruiting, and there's going to be a big flush of growth and a lot of fungal and bacterial work happening in the soil. So that's where I have to leave it. I'm going to get that last bit of that black locust down, and then organize those bricks. And then, like I said, the rest of this material is going to go out this way, 3 more beds, and then in not that long, probably, well, I could start planting the perennials the moment I have the beds outlined, and all the trees down. You want to do the pruning first and then plant, obviously. And then once it starts to get a little bit warmer, I can seed in annuals, plant in annuals, and try to capitalize on this explosion of growth that's going to happen, and the fact that there aren't going to be a ton of annual weeds coming out of there, because I'm not going to disturb the soil much except for exactly where I'm going to plant. Here's what it looks like from a different angle. It's actually really nice to be down here and see the progress. You can see the shape of the land pretty easily from here. This really steep hillside here is going to be interesting, I'll say. It would be fun because it's like kind of loose soil that'll probably grow whatever you plant into it pretty well. The complicating factor is that the understory there is pure poison ivy. You can see on this black locust just old growth poison ivy on there along with the tree, and it's sort of crept all in here. So I think I'm gonna have to just get poison ivy a lot this season. I mean, I always do, but it might be extra here. So anyway, I'm gonna try to plant this hillside out so that it's really covered with fast growing stuff and try to shade out the poison ivy. Although, good luck, because poison ivy does pretty well in shade, does pretty well in full sun. I have yet to understand how to get rid of it. Sometimes it's simple when it's in one root, and then sometimes it does this thing where every vine travels along the ground and everything roots out, and it just is like indomitable. So we'll see what happens. But I have a feeling trying to overshadow it with something that grows faster is going to be the move there. Anyway, coming along, and we'll check in a couple weeks whenever I get back to it.